Welcome to the next episode of the eCom Growth Show. I'm your host, Daniel Coleman, founder of eCom Triage, co-founder of Catalog Defender. And with me, I have a friend of quite a few, probably 4 years now, I think, Justin Willhite. Justin, welcome to the show. Good to have you.
Thank you. This is my second time here. I'm back.
That's right.
For a completely
back.
different reason. I know.
That's right.
Return, but I'm a whole new person these days.
That's right. Okay, welcome back to the show. You might be the first person I've had on a second time. Oh, okay. Well, whatever.
Well, but I'm the second person, but like two completely different topics and two completely different reasons because of the amount of change that has happened in my professional career. Technically I'm a different person, but yes, I am the same individual.
Yes, that's true. Okay. Well, let's talk about that. What are we going to talk about on this episode?
So I think today we're going to talk about influencer marketing and how it applies to e-commerce, just business in general. And I think kind of what some of the things that people need to know, when to use it, when to engage it, how to do it, and things like that. And hopefully helping them understand how to break down some of the typical barriers that a lot of businesses run up against when they start to think about getting into influencer marketing, right?
Yeah.
Is kind of the idea. And that's in stark contrast to the fact that I still have a video production company, but I'm no longer, they kind of focused more on the influencer marketing side because of all those changes, but it's all kind of intermingled in a way, but influencer marketing is the main topic of the day.
All right. Well, let's just dive right into it. So question number one, with paid ad costs rising and the attention span shortening, why do you believe that influencer marketing has moved from a nice to have experiment to a critical survival tool for e-commerce brands in 2026?
Yeah. So I think that is, I think we are in what we're calling the attention deficit society, right? In the sense that everyone wants short form, the shorter the form, the better the form. That's why TikTok's so successful. That's why you're seeing these short form platforms start to eclipse the long form. We're seeing YouTube, for example, the king of long form content, explode because of YouTube Shorts. And that is just on a sharp trend. It's because people want entertainment, education, heartstrings pulled very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And so ads have known this for a long time. I think the ad space has obviously been short form. If you look at Amazon PPC ads, it's like you don't want anything over 20 seconds long. You know what I mean? You want it short, you want it concise. But what's happening is we're starting to see that's just being required across every platform, even not ads, just general consumption. People prefer a long video broken into multiple parts. Even they want part one, part two, part three, part four, part five, as opposed to an 8-minute video. Who kind of knew? I guess it's just the way we've gone. We want that quick hit. And so that's what I think is starting to bleed into this space where influencer marketing, has been around for a very, very long time. It's not new, but I think brands are still, especially smaller brands, it's still hard for them to figure out how to get started with it, right? And
Definitely.
I think that's a huge miss. And the reason why I think we're in the space of it being difficult to start is the typical barriers, right? You either have to dedicate a lot of time, and it's influencer marketing. It's not super easy. You can't just, hey, I just want to get involved with influencers and start reaching out to people and jumping on these influencer platforms. And there's cost involved, there's management involved, there's relationship building, there's, how do you get ROI if you don't get a lot of conversions? Is there ways, there's a lot of these questions. And I think for smaller brands, it gets very overwhelming very quick. And so I still think, though, specifically, like you said, it's not necessarily a nice to have. I think it is critical. It's a critical piece to an e-commerce brand's growth, especially if you're selling, obviously, D2C, which we're talking about here, right? If you're selling a product to the consumer and you're not doing influencer marketing, you're kind of leaving a lot of conversion, brand building, brand trust on the table is really what it comes down to. Everybody, and we've known this forever, everybody looks for third-party validation before they make a purchase, or it's a nice to have before they make a purchase. And that's what influencer marketing is in essence.
Yeah. So when I go to buy something, if it's a low dollar item, I probably don't go to YouTube. But as you know, I'm in the off-road space. So if I'm going to go look for a tent or a roof rack or whatever, these higher dollar items, I absolutely go to YouTube and I look for people that have done videos on that model, setup, breakdown, their opinions, features, all that stuff, because a brand has, of course, a vested interest in ensuring that they communicate the best possible features and that they're the best thing since sliced bread, right? But the fact of the matter is they say that stuff, it may be true, but it's also quite potentially not as true as they communicate it to be, right? So, I go to other influencers on Amazon. They might have 3 subscribers and 4 videos, but what I care about is what they said and their opinions, and they used it, and I make that's a huge influencer in my buying decision.
Well, and you know what's interesting is you talk about it from the high ticket perspective. Like I'm going to make an investment in a really expensive piece of equipment, and I want to make sure that it does all the things that it says, that it's the way that I want it to work. However, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, if you're a person who wants to buy a tent, but you're on a like strict budget, you're going camping and you just need to get a tent, and you're like, okay, what's the cheapest tent out there that can fit 6 people?
Yeah.
When you go to that listing, you want the same thing. You still want that validation. And what's really unfortunate to say is the kings of this right now are the Chinese sellers. They are
Mm.
reaching out. I mean, I'm not even exaggerating. I'm probably underestimating. I probably get 60 emails a week from Chinese sellers in
Whoa.
every single category you can imagine, wanting to send me a product so that I make a video about their product. And
Wow.
so it just because like it's the same thing. Like say I don't have money. I don't have the $500 to buy the 6-person tent that you're shopping for,
Yeah.
the water, the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I'm going to buy this cheap one, but I also want to make sure it is going to actually work. So I still need that same piece of content that says, okay, you're looking at the $29.99 6-person tent. Here's where it does really, really well, but here's the things that it doesn't do great, right? Or
Yeah.
it fell apart really quickly, and you're like, okay, cool. Now I'll get the $39.99 one, right? Like
Right.
it covers influencer marketing is important no matter how expensive or low cost or it's really just what it is just communicating. Does the product do what I'm expecting that it's going to do? And that's really what it is. And so when you look at it from that perspective, any product, any brand should be reaching out to creators in some capacity, whether that's just on Amazon or it's off platform as well. Like
Yeah.
it's super important. Yeah.
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 Let's give you a little bit of clout here. You happen to know you're not just randomly talking about influencer marketing because you decided last week, you know what, I'm going to get into influencer marketing. You've
No,
spent nearly a decade at Twitch, right?
correct. Yes.
Which now is an Amazon company. But for those of you that don't know, Twitch is a monstrosity when it comes to influencer marketing. I know it for video games. I have my own Twitch account and I stream when I video games occasionally, But you spent a decade at Twitch, which it's famous for its diehard communities. What can a typical Amazon seller learn from the Twitch playbook about building a community around a physical product?
So that is, I mean, again, yes. So spending that much time, I was the senior influencer marketing manager globally for Twitch.
Oh, yeah.
For about
Slight little important point. Senior, say that title again, please.
senior influencer marketing manager globally for Twitch. So for almost 6 years, and the last 3 years of my time there, I was basically by myself on the entire team. I ran the entire team. We basically did all of the influencer placements across anything that Twitch was doing, as well as I bled in because we were owned by Amazon. I actually helped with the launches of their Prime TV shows and Prime movies and helped with their events. There's tons of stuff. So I lived the influencer marketing from that side. And then I also am an influencer. I'm an Amazon influencer. I
Yep.
have 3 YouTube channels,
Yep.
all sorts of stuff. So anyway, I have the resume to talk about influencer marketing, I think, pretty
Yes.
well.
Yeah.
What Twitch was, and you hit it right on the head, is Twitch's creators had that's what Twitch is built on, is their communities, right? When you go to a Twitch channel, and yes, it's primarily gaming that's shifting as we're speaking. There's a lot of things kind of moving and shaking over there, but for the most part, let's just look at an individual creator. The communities are what are really strong there, right? Anytime that creator goes live, there's an army of people that show up every single
Yeah.
day at the
Yeah.
same time. That's like a TV show.
Yeah. I've seen
And
thousands of people live watching somebody play Minecraft.
tons, and eventually it's not even so much about the gameplay. If you start to watch the chat, for example, you see that the community has grown. So people, yes, they're showing up to watch the game, But if after a while, I don't even think it's not the game anymore. It's the creator themselves. What kind of personification? Do we have shared values? They build this community. Now people are chatting with each other inside of chat, not even talking to the creator. They're talking to each other. So these become these insulated, very deeply integrated groups of people. And brands end up kind of having the same thing. I mean, go and look at some of the really big, mega established brands in the space, and you go to every single video that they post, and you're going to start seeing the same usernames over and over and over again. And you'll also know, like, you'll see it in a lot of places, everyone's racing to be the first comment. Like first, like that's just a thing. And so that starts to show you it's more, they've probably got their notifications turned on. So they're going to be there for every single post. That's when you've kind of branched from having just a brand and brand recognition and products. You've actually started to cultivate a community around it. And the more the brand jumps in and engages and replies to those comments, that group just gets tighter and tighter and tighter, right? And then eventually that's kind of, you can build that kind of world around your brand if you're doing the steps properly, if you're engaging the right way. And influencers are really important with that, because if you get them to make a video content about your product and then they're engaging in your posts as well as part of the partnership, it all starts to feed, because these people that follow these creators follow them around the web, right? And start showing up in all the places they show up.
So would you say then that you as a brand should leverage existing communities that these influencers have to bring them into your own community and start building your own community?
That's exactly what it is. That's what true, like, deep influencer marketing is if you, especially with the tools out there for influencer marketing, like communication platforms and stuff like that, there's a lot of ways to be able to look at that creator's following, and then you can go engage with them. If you're having a creator post about your product and you are not then from your brand account commenting and replying to the comments that are showing up in that piece of content on their channel, you're missing the bus. Because
Say that again. Say that again.
If you get an influencer to make content about your product, and you then, after they post that content, if you're just letting it sit there and do nothing, if you don't get on your brand account and go over there and start answering questions that people are asking, because they'll be like, oh, like, does it come in blue? Well, the creator may not know, and they may not be checking their DMs at the moment. But if you're in there, yep, chems in blue, here's the link. Here's this. Like, oh no, you know what? We don't have a pocket for that, but that's a really good idea. I'm going to pass that off to the product team for maybe version 2. Right.
Nice.
Just engage with them. Just get in there and show them that you're not just like, because influencer marketing also can have a bad rap. Like, oh, the influencer sold out, right? They're getting paid to talk about this thing, and the brand is just cold and doesn't care. No, you've got to get in there and show that, yeah, you're a brand, but you're also, there's people behind it that actually are getting involved here. That's how you start to get people over to your side and start to build your following on top of that. Yeah.
Yep. That makes sense. Since you're a creator yourself, you know what it's like to receive bad pitch emails. In fact, we were just talking about this before we actually started recording. What is the disconnect brands have when trying to partner with influencers, and how can they fix their approach to get better responses?
Yeah. So the initial outreach is critical. I mean, that, like I said, I get 60 plus emails a week that are real bad outreach, because they're coming from an area that doesn't understand the English language perfectly. And a lot of it starts with like, hey, creator, like, we love your content. We've been following you for years. And I'm like, I know that you haven't. Like, I just know that you have not. You know what I mean? It's just, if you've been an influencer for any period of time, if you've had any number of cold outreach come in, you see the patterns. You can tell, like, they don't know anything about me. Every once in a while their system will screw up and it'll be like, hey, brackets username, and you're like, all right, cool. Yeah, your system broke. Yeah. Nice cold outreach, delete, spam, block.
Yeah.
And so what it comes down to is I think the best way to do it is an outreach without a pitch. Almost don't pitch them first. Like in a hard pitch, like, don't be like, hey, we've got this new product. Here's the link. We'd love to send you one and, have you post, 5 times across all your channels. Like, that's a lot. Like, whoa. We haven't even talked yet. We
haven't gone to dinner yet.
Smooth, go in easy, go in real. Like, hey man, I was, scrolling through, I was looking through snowboarding creators, and I watched this video that you made where you kind of jumped off this big thing. It was really cool. Anyway, I wanted to reach out. I'm reaching out to a lot of other snowboarding creators right now. Like, be real. Like,
Yeah.
don't pretend like they're the only one, because they're not, right? And I was just curious. We're one of XYZ. We do this. This is the products that we kind of sell, and we're just looking for creators as we're kind of beginning to grow or do this, like, that want to partner with us. We have we'd love to figure out how to work with you best. Let us know if you're interested.
Yeah.
Low impact, doesn't assume I'm going to do anything, doesn't like predispose that I'm going to have to sign up to get free stuff from you. Like, let's just talk first, right? Let's begin the conversation. If they're interested, which they may or may not be, and they reply back, then you begin the normal flow of how do we figure out the deal, right?
It's
But
dating.
it totally is. It totally is. You're not going up you're not going upstairs on the
Yeah.
first one.
Yeah.
Let's just have coffee. Like, we're not even going to dinner. Let's just
Yeah.
have coffee.
Yeah.
Figure it out. See if we like each other. Then we'll talk about going to dinner, and then we'll see where it goes, right? That's kind of how you do it. And I think if you do that approach, I guarantee you it will be very different than 98% of the communications creators are getting right now, which already is going to cut through much faster than you would expect. Yeah.
So you and I have talked about this a little bit, but in my own small way, I'm an influencer as well in the off-road community. So, like this podcast, I've also got an off-road podcast, and I think we're 6 episodes in right now. I'm loving it. But I've had brands reach out to me, also only Chinese brands, as cold outreach, saying, "We love your content." It's exactly what you just said. "We love your content. You're so great." I'm off-road, right?
Hey,
We
dear.
wanna we
Hi, dear. Hi, sweetie.
Yeah,
Like,
hi, dear.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I love
exactly.
those. Hi, dear. You're like,
Yep,
whoa, easy, easy.
yep.
Don't get
We
excited.
want you to do a video on this
Yep,
makeup. I'm
yep.
like, "What?"
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Off-road makeup for
Yeah.
sure.
Sure. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. We
I
all
mean,
do it. I
obviously, I
mean,
said yes.
what do you, I mean, you happen to know what we do when we're out in the woods. We put on makeup. That's
That's
what we
right.
do. That's why we off road.
Yeah, well,
That's
it
why
was
we overland.
charcoal-based, so it's
Yeah.
like campfire makeup, anyhow.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
also, I've been a Levanta influencer for some time, and I made it really clear on my profile, I am an off-road enthusiast. That is my marketplace. That is where I have my network, and I've probably said no to like 150 different invites from all these brands. I've said yes to like 6. And then when I say yes, they don't contact me back. And I reach out to them like, "Cool, this looks like a good product.
But
Can you
Damien, you
tell
don't
me?"
want the throw pillows?
Yeah, I do
You
want the
don't want
throw
the throw you
pillows.
don't want the throw pillows that are velvet and tassels? Like, why wouldn't you want that? That makes
Yeah.
total sense why they would reach out to you. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, with tassels, like, you could get, like, a real Ninja Star pillow out of that,
You
but
can. You can.
yeah,
Yeah.
anyhow.
No. No, I feel
Um,
you. And that's what it is. But here's the thing. Yes, they're not doing it great. They're not doing it well at all,
yeah,
but they're doing it.
that's true.
Like, this is the thing. Have any legit brands reached out to you about the content that you're making on your off-road channel? That
No,
right
well,
there,
yeah,
that not saying that none, but in comparison, like, it's not even fractional. And it's like, why are these
that's true.
brands that are on target not doing this? And they're missing a piece there for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, all the big brands that I've worked with, like Midland Radio, Iceco, Light Force LED lights, they make incredible lights. Zero Breeze, like, they sponsored the rover, and these were all a result of direct interaction with them. And so a relationship was built. Just like you said, a relationship was built before they ever said, "Hey, yeah, we have this new." Oh, Anchor is another one, actually. That's a big massive brand on Amazon. So, Anchor Solix, it's some kind of mix or subsidiary Anchor brand, but, they
Yeah,
do.
their solar batteries. Anchor is the owner of Soundcore, Nebula projectors. They
Yeah.
are Eufy. The whole Eufy home is all Anchor. Yeah,
Mm.
they're massive. I've worked with them a ton. Yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So they sponsored one of their new battery banks, and,
they're
couple I think
nice.
it was 2 years ago, we were at an off-road expo. They gave us one of their projectors, which that was the first time I'd seen that, and when you
Nebula.
said that, I was like, "Oh, yeah." Which is
They're sweet.
yeah, a
Yeah,
battery bank
yeah,
with a projector, like, it's freaking awesome. You just
yeah,
bring your TV
yeah.
with you camping.
Yep, yep,
But
yeah.
yeah, all right, let's get on to the next question here. So many brands pay for influencers to posts, They get the likes, and then, of course, it dies because it's short form or short-lived. How should brands be repurposing that influencer content or that influencer on their Amazon product pages or websites to actually drive conversions long term?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things here. There's a lot of ways that you can do this. There's so much more ROI out of influencer campaigns that brands don't pay attention to. I think it all comes down to the relationship that you build. Obviously, yes, you can pay most creators an escalating amount to get all sorts of stuff. But, trying to keep that, obviously, if you're a small company, you don't have a lot of cash flow, right? You don't have a lot of money to spend. You're primarily wanting to do gifting campaigns, things like that, right? I think I've seen some pretty unique ways to get more value out of it, right? A lot of brands want, one of the big ones that all the gurus are going to say is get the rights to the content, right? Get the rights to the content and, make sure you get that's what you need. That's what you want. That's true. However, that a lot of times going to cost you something. It's going to cost you probably monetarily. I mean, if a creator is at the point where they're getting a little bit more savvy, they're probably going to want to charge you something to get the rights to it so that you can use it for XYZ. But I think there's creative ways that you could potentially maneuver and find a happy place where you don't necessarily have to do that. For example, if if I'm reaching out to a creator, or if and I'm saying, hey, I'm going to send you this this jacket. It's a $200 jacket. We'd love for you to post it on Instagram and TikTok, to your channels. And they're like, great, that sounds awesome. Instead of me then going, hey, and then like, would you be cool like giving me the rights to use it on my website and run ads and all this stuff? They'd be like, I don't know. Then they're going to may ask you for something. You could say, hey, would you mind if I could just have access to just a 10-second snippet from the video? Like, I don't need the whole thing, but I just would like, if there's a really good spot in there, would you mind if we'll pull out, we'll find a spot that we like, and then we'll just let you know, like, hey, we just want to use this as part of like maybe a little clip on our website or part of a montage video. Because you've lowered the barrier to not the whole piece of content, they're not going to be like, whoa, that's going to cost you $500 to get that. They'll be like, oh yeah, that sounds reasonable. Very creative way to do it. Now, if you get 5 creators to give you 10 little 10-second snippets, you've got 10 little voice snippets of creators saying something awesome about your product. Or you don't even have to use their voice. You could just use it as B-roll in another video that you create across all of your socials.
Nice.
The other thing I will say is if you're selling on Amazon and you're not doing creator connections, look up Creator Connections. It's a really cool program where it's growing a ton. I am heavily involved in Creator Connections as an influencer.
So you're an Amazon influencer and part of Creator Connections?
They're kind of one and the same. So Creator Connections is a program. Now I'm kind of blind to what it looks like on the seller side. What I know is that it is a promotional opportunity that is given to Amazon affiliates and influencers where the brand sponsors an increased percentage of sales commission for the product. So for example, if you're selling a smartwatch, I think the commission rate for just across the board on Amazon is like probably 4%, maybe 2%. For the electronics segment, right? So if I make a video of this on my YouTube channel, somebody clicks the link, they go and buy it, I get a 4% commission, right? Now, if you are the seller of this, you can create a Creator Connections campaign that says, hey, we're going to have up to $5,000 we're willing to spend on this campaign. And we're going to make the commission rate for that product 20%.
Oh, I see.
So now Amazon's not sponsoring it. You're kind of sponsoring it. But the thing is that you're only ever going to pay out for actual sales. Amazon's going to vet the sales. They're going to do all that. But for me as an influencer, if I'm looking at 2 different watches and I'm like, all right, which one do I want to make a video on? I can get 20% per sale on this one. Totally going to do it. Right.
Yeah.
Now, if you're running a campaign across influencer marketing, you're reaching out to consumers, right? Or creators, you've got Creator Connections set up. If you're not telling them that you have Creator Connections set up and linking to the campaign, you're missing the boat because they're going to already create a video on their channel. Now, if you're like, hey, just put it on Amazon and then link it to this Creator Connections, you'll get 20% on the sale. And now it shows up on your listing as an influencer video.
Don't they have to be an approved Amazon influencer in order to get that, though?
Yeah, an influencer or an affiliate. But it's never been easier than it is now. I'd say a lot of creators are if they're doing product-based content, there's a good
Mhm.
chance that they're on there. You might
Okay.
as well just throw it out there anyway, right? You just throw it out there,
Yeah,
let
yeah.
them know that
Okay.
that's possible. So that's one way. Two, obviously, again, if you get those little snippets of video clips and stuff like that, why don't you, make a video, put it on your listing, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
you can have multiple videos on your listings, but from the brand. So that's how you get a lot of the ROI, additional ROI that you may not typically get when you're trying to keep the budget really low. Again,
Yeah.
you can pay for all that with some creators, right? I mean, if you've got the money, then good for you. And yeah, get aggressive. But if you don't, just be creative. There's ways to do it.
Yep, makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
All right, now a last question here. If a brand wants to move away from vanity metrics like views and focus on actual sales velocity, what specific KPIs should they be tracking when they launch an influencer campaign?
So I think one of the initial numbers that you should be looking at is overall engagement on that
Yeah,
creator's channel.
I thought you were gonna
Engagement
say
is
that.
a
Yeah.
big one, right?
Yeah.
There are millions of creators out there who've got like 500,000 followers on Instagram, and you're like, whoa. And then you go and you get you get one of the tools that shows you like, here's their engagement. And it's like every post is like 0.06%. And you're like, okay, great metrics. Not sure how you got there. Maybe you had
Yeah.
one or two really explosive videos, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But you got to watch for that, right? Obviously, you want to vet against inflated numbers.
Yeah,
So there are tools.
you can pay for that stuff.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like
it's readily available everywhere. You always want to make sure. But I think those are probably the two big indicators up front. Don't let the vanity metrics say it all.
Mhm.
Dig a little deeper. But then come down a little ways on the size, right? If you start looking at the creators that have 2, 3, 5, 10,000 followers, right? That's not like these days in influencers, it's not like, whoa, those aren't super impressive. But you look at their engagement and it's like 40, 57, 63%. And you're like, okay,
They
now
have an
do the
audience.
math.
Yeah.
They're getting more engagement every single time they post than the dude with 250,000 on his TikTok. Totally different game. This guy over here probably going to just love to get a really nice hoodie from you and make a video about it. This guy over here is going to be like, well, but I've got 500,000 followers. It's going to cost you at least $2,000 to get a video on my channel, and I'm only going to leave it up for 15 minutes.
Right.
You're like, okay, like that's not what are you even
Yeah.
talking? It's
It's kind of
because these vanity metrics get too much,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of like with Amazon sales. Like it used to be that, oh, 7 figure years ago, 7 figure seller. Oh my gosh, you are so successful. I've come to find that a significant percentage of those people are not making money on Amazon. They're selling for sure, but they're only taking home like 100 grand,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. If your
So
margin is nothing, sure, your sales numbers, gosh, you could be selling, 5 million a week, right? But
absolutely.
like how much is that actually coming home to you? You're not making if you're not making anything, you're not making anything. You're not really you're pushing product, but it's the exact same thing, right? And
Yeah.
so when you look at it, those are the big ones there. And then I think, obviously KPIs, obviously it's link clicks is the first one, right? How many people are actually moving, right?
Mhm.
How mobile is that creator's follower base, right? Like that's the big one. And I think any creator, that's done any type of partnerships in the past should be able to extrapolate some kind of number. Like here's a post that I did. Ask them for examples if you can.
Yeah.
If they're really small, they probably may not know, right? And so you're kind of wading into the deep a little bit and running a chance on them if they're small and they don't know that stuff. But that's fine. I mean, it's worth a shot. And then you kind of but if you have a creator that's done some campaigns in the past, I would just outright ask them like, hey, have you done any partnerships in the past? And they're like, oh yeah, I did. Cool. What was the post? And did you get any sales metrics back? Like, do you know how many units you sold?
Yeah.
And then you just do a quick little multiplication, chart real fast. And there you go. Right. That'll tell you if you're really going to expect to see, because viewership and engagement is one thing. Mobilization is another thing. Do these people because that's the hard part for every influencer.
Yeah.
I can show you stuff. You can love my content, but can I make you do something, right?
Right.
Can I make you leave what you're doing, pull out your credit card and do
And buy it.
something? That's a whole other conversion. And they're not always able to control that, right? It's
Yep.
the nature of who follows them and stuff. But if you've got a good fit, if the product fits the creator and the creator's viewers well, that's the best indicator you've got is to figure out, you got to do your homework on them for sure.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Justin, this has been super helpful, super fast. Before we end off for today, well, first of all, what are you doing and how can people get a hold of you?
Yes. So, as I mentioned, I was the influencer marketing manager at Twitch, but in recent months, I was caught up in some unfortunate layoffs in my position. So I am now kind of thrust into the world on my own. And so what I've decided to do is take my corporate level, Amazon level influencer marketing skill, experience, and abilities, pair that with my knowledge of being an influencer myself, and now I basically am offering myself as a fractional influencer marketing manager for businesses who want to engage in this space. So all the things that I just kind of explained is what I specialize in doing, and I've kind of packaged it up and made it accessible to smaller brands who don't have the ability to do a full-time hire, don't want to jump in and do it themselves, don't want to spend a ton of money on one of the big influencer agencies to do it for them. I'm kind of a one-stop shop influencer agency in a way, and so that's what I'm up to. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I mean, you have done work for me, for my brand. So I've been referring people to you for years. No company affiliation there, but you got my vote, man. And anyone that's looking for legitimate influencer marketing, there's nobody else that I would go to first before Justin. I have other people in the industry that I do trust and they do a good service, but Justin is boots on the ground. So if you're looking for influencer marketing, reach out to him. Where can they get a hold of you, Justin?
But they can get a hold of me on LinkedIn. I'm very,
Okay.
very active on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Justin Willhite, as you can see in the name. I think you can see the name right down there. Find me on LinkedIn. And then you can also find me at Justin at my last name, willhitestrategy.com. You can find me there. You can reach out, WhatsApp. I got all the options. You can find me. And even if you just want to see like what are some ideas on how I could do influencer marketing, I'd love to just chat. No, I'm not going to pressure you, nothing. I would love to just show you, kind of open your eyes to what the opportunities might be for you.
Cool.
Happy to do that. So, yeah.
All right, dude. Well, thanks for coming back on the show. Undoubtedly, since this is such a hot subject, I think once you've got this rolling, let's get you back on again. Let's do a little bit of a deep dive into influencer marketing. Maybe some like a couple of key strategies that people should
Yep.
be using.
I would love to. Yep.
Cool.
Cool.
All right. We'll see you on the
Right.
next show, everyone. Thanks for listening. See you later.
Thank you.